more to motivate, unify the black people in this country, and I can show you all the receipts you need. But if I don't know where you're looking, but by the way you started off this conversation, you haven't looked in the right place because you didn't even do your research on the NFAC.
Let me ask, as a man, and I find it really odd as a male because I didn't grow up seeing this. It's odd to me to see black men begging for reparation and crying about systemic racism or blaming white people for their downfall. Normally, men overcome situations and the women and children follow. But the black men are acting just like the black women, and they're acting like the white man is smarter than them, that the white man can do better than them. So by complaining and blaming, you're hurting yourself rather than coming together as an American people.
I'm going to stop you right now.
Put forward that effort. It's not attractive to see men complain like that.
I'm going to do this one more time for you, and if you don't get this, we can end this interview.
Now, what y'all just watched was an interview, man. That was Jesse Lee Peterson, who I think is hella funny, by the way. But man, bro has some great points. I love his content. And then you had Grandmaster Jay, who is one of the co-founders of NFAC, and it's basically like a militia that was created, a group that was created, man, during the times of the riots in 2020 and George Floyd and all of those things, man. And if you notice the different in personalities between the two, you got one guy, Jesse Lee Peterson, you know, was very logical in his approach. He wasn't, you know, overly emotional, overzealous. He wasn't over talking the guy when that guy was talking, especially if you go and watch the whole interview. You guys should definitely check out the whole interview. There's so many gems in the interview, but bro is basically real chilled with his approach, just getting his point across, just having, you know, dialogue. And the other guy was just, you know, very, you know, kind of angry, chip on his shoulder, over talking. He reminded me of a woman. You know, like when you argue with women, they over talk you and you can never get a word in. That's why you just don't argue with women. But that's how he was, always deflecting. And what I liked about what Jesse Lee Peterson said was that he said it's abnormal to see men complain about things, right? Because as a man, we're supposed to overcome obstacles and the conflicts that we, you know, deal with in life. And, you know, one of the things I live by is that as a man, it's not what happens to you. You don't allow what happens to you to determine the type of man you become. It's how you respond to those conflicts and how you endure those hard times is what define the character of you as a man. And this is why I say that there's really no point in complaining about systematic racism and racism, period, because honestly, it's a barrier that we set for ourselves mentally. Men don't complain about things we can't control. We cannot control the past. This is why I don't fool with Dr. Umar Johnson and all of these pro-black guys who queen this and king that and brother, I'm going to tell you, brother, you know. I don't fool with them type of dudes because these men are simps. They're just men who find a reason to complain about why things aren't how they think it should be in life. And nothing in life is picture perfect. Every man, doesn't matter what race of man you are, you're going to face obstacles in life at some point. For some guys, their obstacle may be a financial crisis. For other guys, it may be, you know, trying to lose weight. For another guy, it may be having a successful business and failing at it. Another guy may be women. Another guy may be depression. Every group of and race of men, every type of man, no matter if you're short, tall, fat, ugly, handsome, rich, broke, at some point in your life, you're going to face adversity, right? Nobody's above that. And complaining about that adversity is not what's going to make you into the man you want to be. It's doing something about it and overcoming it. When you have these guys who complain about things that no longer even affect us, it's really, really sad. And then you wonder why our women do not respect us. I told you, black men, and I'm a black man and I'm saying this, black men as a whole are the most emotional group of men I've ever seen. We're the most disrespected by our women. If you ever look at Turkish men have a masculinity that is out of this world in masses. Of course, you're going to find guys in all races and all groups of people who don't portray masculinity. But I'm saying that their culture, their women has a different respect for them. And it's not because their women are no better than our women, right? That could be argued, but it's not necessarily that. It's the fact that the standard that these men set, the type of masculinity that these men portray. And normally women will naturally submit to strong, masculine, alpha males, bro. They will naturally submit to that. You don't have to make a woman submit to you. Submission is earned through your masculinity. And this is why I say that most men are not alpha. This is how you know you're not alpha. If you're begging a woman to submit to you, you should never have to tell a woman, submission. I need submission. Because a woman's naturally going to submit to a guy who's worthy of it. And on a woman's behalf, I can halfway understand why a lot of women today in the black community do not want to submit to black men. Because a lot of black men, we don't have traits or produce traits that are worthy of being submitted to. And if you think about it, the same type of guys you don't want to be friends with are the same type of guys women don't want to date. You don't even want to be friends with these motherfuckers. So why should you shame a woman for not wanting to procreate with one? All right, that's just the way it goes. As men, we're supposed to offer value to the world. We're supposed to be masculine. We're not supposed to complain about things we can't control. And that's the problem with these guys who are complaining about racism. It's over with. It's done. It happened, right? It's not stopping you from doing anything. And the reason that I can say this is because there are a lot of black men who are successful, right? Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people in the world who believe in the false narrative of racism and try to use it, but racism isn't the issue, and try to use it for some sort of gain. But racism isn't the issue. The war is between good and evil. There are bad groups of people in all races, bro. You got bad white people, bad Asian people, bad Mexican people, bad black people. You got good people in all different races. But using racism, which is only one obstacle in life that you may face one day, most of you never even experienced racism. You only experience it secondhand because the media perpetuates that by promoting it through the masses of people. Because that is what keeps you with the enslaved mentality. You're so busy arguing amongst each other about something as petty as the color of the skin and people's nationality and culture till you can't even come together to make money to further yourself. Do you think billionaires are worrying about race? No, they don't give a fuck. They're worried about how can they get more money. Racism is for poor-minded people. It's for people who are not rich in thought. We're not even going to talk about finances. If you're poor in thought, you'll fall for the idea of racism. Strong men don't complain about obstacles. We overcome them. We deal with them. We find a way, bro. And that's the issue in the black community. You're complaining that white men are hindering you. In translation, what you're really saying is that white men are stronger than me. So let me beg these men for an opportunity of equality when all equality has already been given to you. You can go get a loan just like they can go get a loan. You can have good credit just like they have good credit. You can live in a good neighborhood just like they live in a good neighborhood. The thing is, you got to put the work in, and you don't want to put the work in. You don't think there are white men out here who are complaining as well? Let me tell y'all something. I've been to the child support office plenty of times, and I saw every race of man in there complaining about, or I ain't gonna even say complaining, dealing with the same issue. It's not just black people dealing with child support. There's a lot of white men who are dealing with that. There's a lot of white men who live in poverty as well. So you can't just say racism is the reason why black men and we can't get nowhere and we're owed reparations and it's the reason why we have trauma and all of this shit. Listen, if you can find the problem, that means you can find a fucking solution for it. My dad did not have a father in his life. His father was not there for him. But my father never used that as an excuse to not be adequate in my life. Tremendous dad. I have a tremendous father, bro. But he used that as motivation to be a better man, which is why to this day, I still learn from him. If you can pinpoint the problem, you can find a solution for it. You already understand that racism and slavery might have been a thing. And to keep it a buck with you, what we were told about slavery and racism is nothing like it happened in reality. And this is proven fact. And I'll do a video on that, right? But we have to, as black men, understand that begging another group of men about problems that don't even affect us today, but affect our so-called ancestors in the past, it's a loser's mentality. It's very, very feminine. All of those men who were down there marching for those 2020 riots and that George Floyd BS, feminine as fuck. And if you think about it, the whole movement is feminine in itself. I wonder why. Maybe because 3 black lesbian women created the whole movement, right? And you, once again, are following a woman's lead. Anytime a man follows a woman's lead, it will end in disaster. I'm not religious, but the Bible will tell you. God, man, woman, child. There's a reason for that. I don't think everything in the Bible is a lie. I think there's truth in the Bible. And those are one of the things that I think is truth. Whatever you identify with the higher power is, nobody knows what the higher power is, but we give it personification and we call it God. Whatever that power is, that's over you. Then it's men. Men are stronger than women for a reason. If something were to happen right now where there would be famine and war and a zombie fucking apocalypse, you better fucking bet you that every goddamn woman out here, even these dyke women, even lesbian women, were going to try to find some type of strong ass alpha male to seek guidance for and protection. I promise you. Because that's our job as men, to provide and to protect. At the end of the day, no matter how independent a woman says she is, she knows that. So when you are breaking that hierarchy and following women, it will lead to disaster. And those riots and those marches and those protests didn't make anything better. It just made you look more like a pussy. What are you asking for? What are you begging for? What do you want? All you got to do is do the work, bro. All you got to do is do the work. They use those type of movements to further keep you distracted from what's really taking place. You fell for the false narratives of those small percentage of police brutality situations that they show on TV, which is I'm also going to do a video on that too. I'm sort of changing the trajectory of my YouTube channel. It's still going to be red pill, but we're going to talk about the red pill amongst all types of things, not just women. But they definitely only use a small percentage of negative encounters with the police and put that on the news to change and rile you up and to manipulate the mindset of the masses of people, and you fall for it every time. And that manipulation is what Black Lives Matter saw as an opportunity to make money, and you give them money and they don't even give back to the community. It's already been proven. You can go look at Candace Owens' documentary. She's already exposed Black Lives Matter and how they are basically of no value to the black community. They're just another group of modern civil rights activists who use the backs of sheeps, black, white, Hispanic, whatever color you are, because it was all races of people out there marching. They basically make money off the backs of sheeps. That's all they did back in the day. Still funding these protests, still funding these so-called civil rights activists. And 50 years later, you're still doing the same thing. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So please stop being an embarrassment. Black men, if you're listening to this video, stop being an embarrassment. Stop being a fucking pussy. Stop complaining about things that have happened years ago and do the fucking work. You got two options. You gonna complain or you gonna compete. That's it. It don't even matter your race. Don't matter what color you are. As a man, you can bet you two things. You're going to face adversity and you're going to die. Those two things are going to happen. That's the inevitable. Doesn't matter what adversity comes down the pipe. Every guy, every man is living a different reality, and his adversity will be different than the next man's. But you don't complain about it. You find a solution and you compete. That's masculine. That's alpha. And then you won't have to be wondering and making videos and content about trying to convince women to be submissive to you. You all will never go on my channel and see me complaining about a woman asking for about a woman not wanting to submit to men. Because I understand that is earned. That's earned. As a man, you got to be valued. If you ever have to ask a woman to be submissive to you, 9 times out of 10, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. Our own women don't even view us as alpha in most cases. It's a reason for that. How can they when they're seeing the men in their community who are supposed to be, leaders, begging another group of men? Black men are literally begging white men for acceptance and equality when all that shit only exists here. It only exists here. There's so many things that we can do to better elevate our community. I give you a good start. Stop killing each other. We kill ourselves more than the other races of people kill us. And that's facts. We kill ourselves more than the other races of people kill us, bro. So I don't understand how racism is stopping you from being successful. You're stopping yourself. You're stopping yourself. As a man, we don't complain. We compete. Man, that's it for the video. Peace.